Your predecessor was during his entire mandate very much outspoken on corruption, crime, fight against corruption and crime in Kosovo. Will there be any change in your rhetoric? Will you have some added value to that, or will you continue in the same manner?
Well, I think ambassadors all have different styles, and that's very much something the Foreign Office promotes. We should be who we are, but I don't think the issues that we are addressing as the British Embassy here, as the representatives of the British government, will change. Rule of law is clearly a priority for us. We believe that's at the foundation of stability within Kosovo, and it's clear as well that corruption is a problem here, but something that needs addressing not only by us and the international community, but by Kosovans themselves.
Mm-hmm. You arrived at a very busy time. You know that Kosovo is preparing for these extraordinary elections early in October. Do you expect any changes, and what changes do you expect? Maybe it's too early for you, but if you at least try to envisage them?
There was a message I put out the other day, which is really to say that elections are an important part of any modern democracy. Kosovo is such a modern democracy, and it's an important moment for the people of Kosovo to choose who they want to be their leadership. Mm-hmm. And I think what is there going to be change? Who knows? I think clearly the political parties and the leaders are really in campaign mode now and are moving ahead. It's going to be very interesting to see how successful they are and where the people of Kosovo want to put their mark, if you like, and who they want to lead them over the next period. There are a lot of important issues in the country. I'm struck by the fact that I think across the country people are concerned about jobs, they're concerned about education, they're concerned about health, and of course they're concerned about the future negotiation or the dialogue as it's been described.
Speaking of democracy, on the other hand, you're aware that there has been a so-called war veteran coalition in Kosovo ruling since 1999. It's been 20 years now. How does democracy, in your opinion, fit with such a group of people in power, even for that much time? And could you also envisage any kind of change with these elections, that these war veteran coalition changes for the first time now?
Again, I think it's up to the people of Kosovo to decide who they want to vote for and who they want to support. It's not surprising that you have a generation of politicians who've been involved in government here, and really it's up to the people of Kosovo to decide whether they want them to continue in government. But I see, some of the parties are looking for a new agenda. Some of them are looking to put new candidates forward as possible prime ministers. Much will depend on the numbers maybe in October, but also part of that negotiation that will take place afterwards to form a government.
And if you have to compare this, what you are talking about, democracy and a group of people with clear war background, do you think these two goes well one by?
Well, there's always democracy goes through phases, goes through stages. We've seen that elsewhere in the world as well. Democracy has its moments where certain people are involved and they may remain involved. In the United Kingdom, that's not the case. We often find that a change of government means a change of personality. But at the same time, we have people who have been involved in politics in the United Kingdom for a long time. And sometimes that experience is very useful.
Maybe it's not quite a popular question on the record for diplomats, but could you make any difference between Mr. Thaci and Mr. Haradinaj in terms of, I would say, at least until recently as an outsider, any difference in their politics?
I think if you look at all the political leaders of Kosovo, they're all quite different. They all have different positions on some of these issues. and certainly the current president and acting prime minister have had their differences, I'm sure. So I think I certainly don't, as an observer, see some kind of monolithic bloc within Kosovo. What I see is a very active and energetic political competition.
You also mentioned dialogue as one of the priority, if I understood you correctly, for the UK to support. Yet, in the past year, the public on both of the sides have not heard much of this boost from the UK side. Not boost in terms of supporting the dialogue, but the clarification on the position and commenting on the events in 2019. Also, we have not seen that many events in terms of normalization process and dialogue. Not really much happened on the scene. Could you really could you clarify as an ambassador of the UK government, how would you comment on what happened throughout 2019 between Belgrade and Pristina in the so-called normalization process?
Well, we seem to have got ourselves into a bit of a cul-de-sac, as I would describe it. You know, at the moment, neither side seems to be willing to move forward. We need to see some change in that. I think there may be an opportunity after the elections for it. The United Kingdom, along with its international partners here, remains involved. We have taken.
That means what?
So that means discussing, as always, discussing both with political leaders, but also people in the different communities about what the way forward is, and looking in terms of what the key issues will be, ensuring that any future negotiation takes place, possibly, I say quickly, but I'm wary also that things may well take time to happen. But we really want to ensure that there's a serious and legitimate negotiation that leads to a resolution of issues between the two countries.
Could you be more specific when you say what the way forward would be? And certainly it would require much time.
Yeah, I think we have to be careful. It's not for the international community to define what the way forward is. It's really for Kosovo and Serbia.
Okay, so that means that whatever Belgrade and Pristina agrees, the UK would welcome.
No, I don't think that's been our position. I think we do have a position of principle around the issue of border changes. We, along with others, don't believe that is a positive way forward. But clearly, we're going to see how negotiations proceed within certain parameters.
So there are some red lines.
Yeah, well, red lines is a hard word. I think parameters is a better one.
Okay. Do you foresee any concrete changes throughout, now it's too late 2019, but 2020? Serbia is also ahead of the election in early 2020. Yes. What do you think would be, if you really have to speculate about the feasible time for the restart of the dialogue? That could be when?
Well, I think the question will be post the elections in October, how quickly a Kosovan government can be formed, how quickly they can define their position, so that they can engage with the Serbian government as soon as possible.
That means that you still can see some joint meetings and discussion already in 2019.
I mean, at this stage, it's a bit like crystal ball gazing, because of course, I think it will depend how quickly the Kosovan government can form after the elections.
I'll ask you something about Kosovo-Serbian community. I don't know how much you're informed about the Kosovo Serbs now, but if you would be in the shoes of Kosovo-Serbian community, what do you think would be their priority interests on one side, but on the other side also their major concerns and troubles?
I mean, I think it's certainly not my position to speak for the Kosovan Serb community. I know that they're very capable of doing that for themselves. What I think, I suspect that for the majority of Kosovan Serbs, whether in the north or the rest of the country, are concerned about the same as all the other people in Kosovo. It's around those social and economic issues that affect us every day of our lives. Clearly, there are also some of the bigger political issues that come into play, but it seems, my impression, and it's only that at this stage, is that the Kosovo and Serb community itself has been able to define its positions, has been able to work out its relationships. And I would say what we're really looking towards is how do we build a sustainable Kosovo and Serb community in the whole of the country.
Are you aware of the sentiments also of the Kosovo-Serbian community in terms of difficulties to accept that they are living in Kosovo system and that they are still very much faithful to the idea, actually to the system that they, without any, how they say, they lived until 1999.
Well, that's really why I'm here today. It's to hear from people, to listen to them, and then over the next weeks and months to build up a picture and what the UK can do about that.
Okay, and the Britons are known also for quite sophisticated diplomacy, and I would say also for good taste and manners in the way how do you publicly exercise diplomacy. What would be your diplomatic line in the upcoming months and years to both, actually to all communities in Kosovo, Serbs, Albanians and all others, while they are striving to join the EU, at the same time when actually the UK is quite busy and has already stepped on to getting out of the EU?
Sure. I mean, I think membership of the European Union for Kosovo is something that Kosovo wants, and I think we're here to help them with that and support them in that. The United Kingdom's position, obviously, for ourselves is different at the moment. That's causing quite some, political interest at home, and will take some time to work through. In terms of the UK, I think it shows the maturity of our democracy, that we're able to go through these issues, whether it is the executive or the legislative, positively. Things are working or will work themselves out. It may take some time. I'd say the same for Kosovo. It may take some time, but there are issues that everyone is clear about, and that as long as there is a spirit of cooperation, then I think we'll see progress.
Yeah, but you're still on two different lines. The UK is rushing out of the EU, while Kosovo officially and Serbia, Belgrade and Serbia,
sure,
they are joining.
But as I say, it's really for the people of Kosovo and Serbia to decide where they want to be. The people of the United Kingdom have decided what they want to do.
Thank you for talking to Kosovo.
My pleasure.